Now it's Joe's time to talk. Welcome to Up, Up, and Away, a comic book movie review and news podcast. Hosted by myself, Joe Gilpin, joined, as always, by my brother,
Matt.
How are you, Matt?
Good.
Wonderful. And we happen to be joined as well by our sister,
Melissa.
How are you, Melissa?
I'm doing well. Matt always sounds like a little kid in, elementary school, and your name?
Matt. And what do you say? Yeah.
Thank you.
This is a comic book movie review and news podcast where we get together and we talk about movies that we really enjoy, sometimes movies that we fucking hate.
Yeah, like last week.
Or next week.
This is a real... The sandwich is okay.
Well,
bread sucks.
Well, last week we didn't do X-Men.
Yeah, last week was Superman Returns.
Yeah, I was out of town.
Every Friday we watch a movie and we discuss it, a comic book superhero movie. Every Tuesday we do a Tuesday Newsday episode, and every Saturday it's a comic book TV show wrap up kind of thing.
Yeah.
About all the superhero shows. A lot of interesting stuff to talk about for tomorrow.
Yeah, especially with two shows who share a similar trait.
Which show are you going to mention?
Supergirl.
Gotham for me.
I know, and we talked about it before.
I didn't remember that. So anyway, today we are watching
thing.
Easy. We are watching the 2003.
We already did watch it.
Bryan Singer.
Oh my god, man.
Matthew.
What? We did.
Stop derailing.
I'm not derailing. Sorry, fuck.
We are watching the 2003 Bryan Singer movie, X2.
X-Men United.
X-Men United.
Then United they were.
Indeed they were. This is the second of the X-Men franchise.
Mm-hmm,
the Fox-Men.
Yeah, I suppose you could break this whole series into the original X-Men, X2, X-Men Last Stand trilogy.
Don't know why it wasn't called X3.
Sure.
They're like, fuck it.
There was not a lot of thought given to that movie.
No.
And then I think you're going to be openly shocked next week when you take a critical eye to that movie.
Yeah.
And then there's the Wolverine trilogy, which is about to be finished up with Logan.
Yeah, Joe, don't mention Logan. I'm going to cry.
Oh, it's incredible. And then now we are into the...
just finished the
new trilogy.
I guess, what do you call them? The First Class?
Yeah, the First Class trilogy.
First Class universe? Yeah.
The handsome trilogy.
Yeah.
The really handsome people.
Yeah.
With McAvoy and Fassbender, Nick Holt.
Mm-hmm.
Man, all you guys are really attractive. Is that like a mutant thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
That, sure.
We grow up ugly, don't worry. Apparently we grow up ugly. In 20 years I'll look like shit, says Magneto.
Yeah, McAvoy grew up pretty good. But...
Yeah. I'm going to age like a peeled apple, don't worry. It's going to look terrible.
Because in Apocalypse, Magneto's that's like 84.
Yeah, and then he went from...
16 years later.
16 years later!
He looks like Ian McKellan.
Well, I think this is an easy impulse, but this is an answer by the movies. You can't expect those movies to lead to these movies.
I don't care.
They're not a continuous...
It's still funny.
Timeline.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really smart decision.
Yeah, they cut out a scene where he was getting really into, IPL facials and stuff like that.
Sure, and sleeping on his face.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine he got hit by a bus. That's my headcanon. In 1997, it's really tragic.
Yeah.
It's like Magneto?
Oh, shit. You think you could stop it?
Maybe he wanted it.
For mutant kind.
Yeah.
Ding.
Sure, why not? That was my computer. Let's go ahead and let's launch right into the baseball card stats of X2.
Were you going to say the plot? And then you're like, oh yeah, baseball card.
No. And then the plot's coming.
Alright. This movie, like its predecessor, was directed by Bryan Singer.
Sure.
He's back.
Loved his work in X-Men.
Yeah, his X-Men stuff was pretty good.
It was really
Top
good.
notch.
Every X-Men movie he's done, I've liked.
Yeah.
So, just...
yeah, if you didn't enjoy his work on this, wait till we get to next week.
Oh, yeah. This movie's relatively well received.
No, people
Oh,
like
yeah,
this.
no, I've had a lot of people say this is their favorite.
Sure, and I can't dispute that.
We'll talk about that soon.
You can disagree, but... screenplay was by Michael Dougherty, Dan Harris, and David Hayter, with the story by Hayter, Singer, and Zach Penn. This had a budget of $110 million. And you want to guess the box office?
I'm going to guess this took in about $300 million.
More.
Oh, I'm going to say 600.
Oh, sorry. Less.
Oh, wait, less than 300?
Less than 600. More than 300.
What was it?
407.
Okay.
Oh, you're right.
Respectable.
Yeah, no,
Quadrupled
great.
it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, you can't.
Is that domestic or?
It just says box office.
I assume that's worldwide.
Is it worldwide?
I thought it's worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide?
Mr. Worldwide.
Is that the Pitbull
Is that the
thing?
Pitbull score?
He's got his own site for movies.
Honestly, that'd be really funny. I'm not the biggest Pitbull fan.
Hey,
but
like Orale, it's just about seizing the day and doing what you love. And like, I like movies, and so I figure,
Hugh Jackman.
What's your favorite movie? Steel Magnolias.
Rotten Tomatoes score? You wanna?
I guess this got 82.
I'm
No.
gonna say 91.
No. You almost split the difference again. You guys always do that.
Yeah,
It's
we do.
86.
Yeah, well,
That's still
yeah, that's a very respectable score, and I think that's well earned.
I agree. I think
this
that's
is a positive movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about that. I think this movie, the highs reach a little higher than X-Men,
Mm-hmm.
and I think there's a ceiling for some scenes that are below what X-Men reach.
It doesn't get higher.
But yeah, no, this is we're gonna have to wait until 2011 for these movies to reach back up.
Yep.
And that also includes the Wolverine movies.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
Sorry,
so
gang.
brutal. That's all. Was this 8 years?
yeah,
And this is your jam.
yeah.
You're
That's
like-
why we made sure to
This
include
is
you.
that's why I'm here for these. I was supposed to actually only show up for the X-Men movies. I kind of jumped in a little early, but
Snuck into our Superman song.
yeah, I snuck it in the
You're
Spider-Man.
welcome anytime.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you.
Well, you gotta run a 5.
And
I'm just kidding.
There's some forms to fill out.
no, but X-Men is my favorite
Property.
Right? Yeah.
You're you.
It is, and I remember watching First Class with and I had almost pretty much given up on X-Men movies.
I thought you were gonna say life. I was like, whoa. It's like, holy shit.
It wasn't worth it, man.
They brought me back in.
Then I saw Fassbender up there moving satellites and stuff.
And I just felt my heart pumping again.
Alright. Yeah, I even tried on your Dark Phoenix costume.
Yeah, I have a Dark Phoenix costume.
And I put it on.
Hell yeah.
That looked damn good.
Does that costume still fit well since you lost all that weight?
Me? No, I had to buy another one.
No shit. Did you really buy another
I
one?
bought another one.
Holy shit, Melissa! That is.
Can I have the-
love.
Can I have the other one?
Can he have the big fatto one?
Yeah, you can have the big. I wasn't a big fatto.
I'm not a big fatto.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a thick 180.
You fucking liar.
No, it's not where I am.
Is it?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, there you go.
Oh, now I feel bad. Now I'm self-conscious.
Anyway,
kidding.
yeah, I lost weight.
Not me, bitch. I lost weight.
I look good. All right, you want to hop right into this?
I would
You
love
wanna hop
to.
on pop?
I have many opinions. Let's hop into the beat-by-beat plot analysis.
All right. This movie, it starts with like a little voiceover.
As they are wont to do in this franchise.
I just swallowed something, so my voice is getting messed up. And another ding.
We're very popular.
We're not. We have a scene in the Oval Office. We see the President of the United States, and it's like, oh, that's cool. I always like when they
Sure.
factor in
It
real
sets
world.
a big scope right off the
Superman
bat.
2 also did this.
Yes.
We see this person taking a White House tour.
Before then, I'd even like to bring up in the monologue, they brought up an interesting point. They talked about the concept of mutants and humans sharing the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was an interesting take.
Was it
especially-
Magneto?
No, Xavier, I believe,
I
was
think he
giving
opens all of them.
Yeah,
I
that
think
sounds
his
correct.
monologue opens all the movies.
All right.
I think that's an interesting concept of them sharing the world.
Yeah.
Especially considering the obvious conflict that he's pretty much the only person who thinks that.
Yeah.
Him and the X-Men are the only people that think...
Yeah. It's like 6 people in the world who think that.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
My voice just cracked really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The opening shot of this movie is of a portrait of Abraham Lincoln, and that is in no way a mistake.
No.
It's an interesting
Brian
parallel.
Cox wasn't like, oh, all right, cool.
Yeah, it is an interesting parallel between this and the Civil War. And I mean American Civil War, not the Marvel event, the Civil War.
Yeah.
And I there's something to that, right? The idea of this as
yeah.
a war within the country, within
Yeah.
the world, really.
Yeah, because that's kind of a little bit. It's a little bit what X-Men's about. It's not really about heroes versus villains per se, especially with the Magneto story. It's about a group fighting within itself, while it's got a world outside of itself, that's trying to fight it.
Yes. Protecting a world that hates it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And back to the White House. we see this person. They're acting very strange, and they begin to start whipping ass.
Yeah, we see that they have,
something.
Yeah,
an ability.
Mm-hmm.
They are
right.
And a tail.
And
they have
tail.
a tail. That's right. Yeah.
And they are poofing around.
Well, bamfing around.
They're bamfing around. They're not. That makes it sound like our grandfather making fun of someone.
Just poofing around.
Bamfing around in there.
So, we know.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, this is Nightcrawler.
Kurt Wagner.
Kurt Wagner. He is. He breaks into the Oval Office. He looks to be slaughtering people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And by the way, he has blue furred skin.
He painted it over for this to blend in at first, but then it starts to come out.
Yeah, it starts coming off.
And he tries to assassinate the president. He's got him pinned. He grabs a knife with his tail, and right before he's able to stab him, he's shot by a Secret Service member.
Yeah.
And the knife drops, he bamfs away, and we see the president looks over, and there's a note on this knife, and it says, "Mutant freedom now."
Mm. Yeah.
And it's powerful, man.
It's a very powerful scene. It's a great scene.
One of the best scenes in any X-Men
one of
movie.
the best choreographed. Thank you.
Choreographed.
And
child actor choreographed.
I want to have a kid now and have them call them that.
Yeah.
Corey.
Was he planned? You better believe it.
Oh yeah, I've been working on this.
He was
for a long
choreographed. The invasion scene is very powerful. It shows the inherent power of a mutant over a human.
Mm-hmm. He can do whatever he wants.
He can do whatever he wants because he breaks into the most secure room in the nation, ostensibly, and is ready to kill the president. And it's interesting that they use the most quote-unquote demonic mutant possible.
Demonic looking.
Yeah, he is as scary as a mutant can get, really, and still be relatively humanoid.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah, he's bipedal.
Yeah, he's famous in the comics for that. I mean, he's got the tail, which has a point at the end. He literally looks like a demon.
Yes.
He's got fangs. He's got yellow eyes with no pupils.
He's scarred up.
In the movies, he is covered in these scars that have these they seem to suggest some kind of religious symbolism.
He says they're a sin.
Yeah.
He marks
Each one is a
himself.
sin.
Each one is a sin, so there are many.
And his plan is to kill the president as a symbolic protest of mutant oppression.
Yeah. Which is like,
or so we are meant to believe at this point.
And which is like, whoa. This incident stirs up anti-mutant feelings around the country, and people are starting to support that Mutant Registration Act, and that's what mutants are fearing again. Like Storm and all them are worried that's what this is going to incite.
Yeah, a lot of this is going to start to be pulled from the comic God Loves, Man Kills.
Yeah, the
which is a good one.
1982 graphic novel by Chris Claremont. Yeah.
And we see scene shifts to the students from Xavier's school are visiting a museum. And we see Jean Grey.
They're studying Cro-Magnon men.
Yeah.
Also not a mistake.
Yeah. No, yeah.
She is expressing fear of not controlling her powers to her boyfriend, Cyclops. Mm-hmm. And everybody's back, by the way. Famke Janssen's back, James Marsden, Anna Paquin's Rogue.
Halle
Berry Storm, Sean Ashmore as Iceman. We see that Rogue and Iceman are there. We are now joined by Pyro. He is Aaron Stanford. And they get into a little tiff.
Yeah. Sure, Pyro's being a dick in the food court.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, totally. And
I get it.
Right.
Yeah. They just wait till X3 Joe gets settled in the most obvious way possible.
Gasps.
So I don't want to shit on that movie too much today.
Give it time.
I want to talk about a good movie. So yeah, Pyro.
So let's talk about the first 70% of this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, or just 70% of this, I would say. Even 85%, I would go as high as. Shut up, I'll do that one. He's John. Pyro's name is John. They don't call him Pyro.
Yeah.
He causes a flame on a cigarette to flare up on the bullies, what have you. And
he can control flame. He cannot create flame.
No, but yeah.
That's true. That's from the comics.
Yeah. And so, out of nowhere, Professor Xavier halts time.
He pauses everyone's...
He Zach Morris is everybody.
Yeah,
that's a good way of saying it. He Zach Morris is everybody.
We'll stay by the bell.
Did Zach Morris have Professor Xavier?
I'm going to ask Mark Paul Gosselaar.
Professor Zachary Morris Xavier.
Man, I do not want to see the episode where he got crippled. That must be tragic.
You'd think so, but I think they managed to pull it all together. I, for one, blame Jessie.
Yeah, or Slater.
Yeah, she's going to live forever.
Yeah.
That's her power.
She's so excited. He calls time.
Couple of things. I want to start with the scene with Jean and Scotty. And the impending doom that Jean feels. Mm-hmm. I have a problem with this
trope
sub-story throughout the movie. It's not well handled because it's a lot of telling, not showing.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we see these computers starting to frizz up, but that's not
that weird for mutants. I mean, then Xavier comes in and pauses time, essentially, for everyone.
On purpose.
So for us to believe that she's having trouble with her powers, we don't even really see her have trouble with her powers.
No, she just is like, oh, it sucks right now. It's really, I mean, there's nothing for us.
Scott even says, like, when you're shaking the bed when you're having a nightmare. It's like, show us that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they, X-Men Apocalypse came out earlier this year, and they do.
Yeah.
They do a great job of showing Jean's early Phoenix, connection and how she's struggling to deal with that.
Yeah. So I think this scene should be a lot better than it is. Mm. It is tough to get an emotional connection.
Or it shouldn't happen in this scene. We should wait, maybe. Maybe they go back to the mansion and that night or something.
And the fact that they did do that literally again in Apocalypse makes me wonder if they the filmmakers felt that way too.
Definitely a possibility. Or maybe you could rewrite this scene as Jean doesn't feel that she's out of control. Mm-hmm. Scott maybe does, and he's worried about it, but she's not.
Yeah,
and so there's a worry, but...
Even so, we need to see, Jean, throwing
tipping a bus over by
a stadium around.
She sneezes and, some dude explodes.
Yeah, sure, that exactly that. Professor Xavier is stopping time for all these people.
Probably shouldn't do that.
Right when his students are in trouble. Is this ethical?
No.
No, right? This is kind of a dick thing to do. Especially because they were doing things incorrectly.
Yeah.
His students were fucking up. And they kind of needed to have some consequence to this.
Yeah, he's kind of
not to say they should have the shit beat out of them or, start a riot.
Also, they can't get the shit beat out of them.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Right.
There needs to be some form of consequence to this. And I feel like he just pulls his students out before anything bad can happen to them.
Right.
I mean, they are students.
And at the same time,
they're adults.
Whatever consequence the outside world is willing to dish out to them is not going to be in proportion
correct.
To they will get a lot of negative attention and negative
sure,
really horrible
and also
consequences could come from that.
Imagine back when you were in school, and I'm sure you had rowdy students in your class. Could you not? Did your teachers not wish they could do that? When they saw you starting to fuck shit up, on a field trip?
Throw fire ass?
So I'm going to just stop time. I'm going to go get Joe's ass
but
out of here.
But that doesn't make it right.
But I mean, you would do it.
That doesn't make it right.
But
I think it's unethical.
I can see why he did it.
Fair enough.
So, yeah. Scene shifts back to the Oval Office, where we see the president. He is shaken. And we meet this retired military scientist, Colonel William Stryker, played by Brian Cox. He wants to destroy the entire mutant race.
I never picked up that he was supposed to be retired from the military, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Weapon X is something maybe paramilitary.
Yeah.
Yeah. I likened him almost to Amanda Waller.
Yeah.
In DC.
That's a good parallel.
Just for the listeners out there who might not be Stryker, that familiar with Stryker.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he visits.
He becomes a weirdly big part of the X-Men universe.
A huge part, yeah.
And he got really handsome in Days of Future Past too.
He sure did, model handsome.
Yeah.
And everybody just got way handsomer. So he mentions how close the teleporter had gotten to the president. He's like, they could do that. They can just do whatever they want. So he gets approval for an attack on the X-Mansion. He says there's this school out here that they're just there, man.
Educating kids is the best.
Learning. Now that'll learn them to bust my tomato.
Thank you, Lisa Simpson.
And so we see, we know that he knows this because he was interrogating Magneto.
Yes.
Magneto's...
And he calls him Magneto instead of Eric Lehnsherr.
Mm-hmm.
And this is unusual. Usually the only people who refer to Eric Lehnsherr as Magneto are people who are in active combat with or against him.
Right.
Like Wolverine calls him Magneto.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this is akin to referring to someone by a quote-unquote slave name? Too much? Should I pull that out?
No,
I
thought it was a valid question. Am I wrong here?
No, I think...
Would it be like calling Muhammad Ali Cassius Clay or something?
No,
you know what I mean?
No. I think he's trying to establish himself as part of this fight that's going on with the X-Men and.
See, I think you can also read it as this is his way of just referring to him as a mutant.
That's what I was saying. He's dehumanizing.
Yeah, he's wanted to dehumanize it. Oh, interesting.
This is Magneto. This is not Eric Lehnsherr. Because Eric Lehnsherr has parents. Eric Lehnsherr has tragedy in his life and joy in his life at times.
Family in apocalypse.
Yeah, family, yeah. And I think that's his way of saying this is a weapon. Magneto is a
literal
He's
machine.
a literal, yeah.
That is what a Magneto is. And
that's how I always took that as.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So,
I never thought of it that way.
That's what I mean by his slave name. It's a way to dehumanize him.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's why we always see Charles call him...
And you fucking laughed at me. How rude.
I thought you were making a joke.
No. Or maybe I was. If everybody else out there laughed, sure was a joke.
Please write in and let us know.
No, Joe,
I thought your slave joke was great.
Slaves are funny. So...
We're definitely getting letters now.
Yeah. Yeah, please don't take that out of context. So...
That's the pull quote from this episode.
Yeah.
So we see that Senator Kelly is there.
Yes.
And he's objecting. But we know, after the events of the first movie, that's not Senator Kelly.
Right.
It's Mystique.
Yeah, Senator Kelly died in the last movie.
Mm-hmm. He turned into water. And she fails to get this...
To dissuade them from moving forward with their plan.
I mean, she's not a senator. She doesn't have the same oratorial skills.
Like, no, don't do that.
Please, no.
Pretty cool for Bruce Dickinson to come back.
Yeah, good for Bruce Dickinson. Yeah, he got to be in another movie.
So, Stryker visits Magneto in the plastic prison to question him, and using a chemical placed on the back of his neck, Stryker demands to know everything Magneto knows about Cerebro.
Yeah.
So it's like, whoa.
This is a conceit that the movie has, and you have to buy into this for the rest of the movie to make sense. That Magneto has every bit of all of this information to give over to Stryker.
Mm-hmm.
Schematics, details of how to break in.
He helped build Cerebro in the last movie. That was how he had that other machine, too.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair. But for him to have all the stuff to the...
Yeah, that's a lot of, he's not...
He had a lot of very precise information.
On him.
Yeah.
He had, blueprints, at his house.
Yeah.
So, I buy it. That doesn't take me out of this.
It is a buy-in that you have to make for this.
Yeah.
That Magneto has...
absurdly photographic memory.
Yeah, 1,000% accurate memory of all of the X-Mansion.
Yeah.
Because they have every room in the fucking place broken down.
Right.
So, I buy it. That's it.
There are times where... And I think this is a really interesting way to approach this movie. This is the second movie of a supposed franchise. The military knows everything about them now.
Yeah, that was what I was, getting a little bit why I thought that Stryker fancied himself part of, whatever this new wave of mutants, was going to bring. He was part of this new fight. And he's been researching this for a long time. We're going to see later on. Can I spoil?
Yeah, of course.
His son is a mutant. He's been dealing with this for a very long time.
Yeah, since the Vietnam War, ostensibly.
Right. Yeah. Canonically. Yeah. And
in a film we see later.
That's right. And so
it's in the text.
Exactly. So he's already a part of this world. That's what I was getting at before.
Right. But for them to break down the idea of the X-Men as these secret warriors this early into the franchise, to me, is a little shocking, really. Right? Because now, the X-Men have always been able to lead these double lives. That doesn't exist anymore.
Bobby's still leading a double life.
Yeah.
Kind of, but I mean, how long until that breaks down? Because the
45
entire
minutes.
yeah, the prep school is going to be blown up, and everybody involved with that prep school is going to be outed as a mutant.
Right.
Well, they're taken prisoner.
Yeah, if not just taken prisoner and
Experiments on.
Yeah. I guess that's the difference between film and comics, because you have to keep that conceit in comics, and maybe they just didn't know how many of these movies they were going to make.
Yeah, I guess that's
maybe that was the filmmaking rationale.
Hey, it was good. So
because these are groundbreaking in a lot of ways for the superhero movie genre. But they had to have known. I mean, they already had the Batmans. You already had the Supermans. You had to know these things might go a minute.
That's a good. That's really true. It is shocking that they would break the
structure that wide open.
Yeah,
that early.
Also, you need to realize though, the Superman movies, the Batman movies, hell, that first Spider-Man movie that came out a year before this, none of them followed a comic book storyline or a graphic novel.
That's
a great point. This is even the X-Men one, the first one. This is the first real superhero movie to openly and willfully adapt a storyline.
That's a good point. I mean, they had started to do that with Superman Returns.
Yeah.
But even that was not.
No,
and that came later, though.
Well, no. I mean, but the one that was supposed to be the Tim Burton one.
Oh yes, accurate.
Superman Lives.
Yeah, Superman Lives. Excuse me. So, yeah, that was.
And that looked like dog shit.
Yeah. Well, it seemed like
there were parts that's like that could have been cool.
Yeah.
But as a whole, when you kind of
I guess the best you could put to that as a precursor would be the Robin storyline in Batman Forever.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a
that is
loose.
That's 10 minutes.
It's 10 minutes, and the guy is 35.
And also, it looks really weird.
Yeah,
shot wise,
So yeah, that's a really good way to. That's a good observation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's why this movie can kind of get away with that, like for lack of nuance and lack of better term, blowing their load on this movie with doing that.
I still don't agree with it. I still don't like it.
So
I think.
I mean, even in the comic, I mean, they didn't lose their secret identities or anything.
No, yeah, that never happens in the movie.
There's no Sokovia Accords where it's like you have to sign up.
No.
But the Mutant Registration Act was that.
Yeah.
But that got shot down.
Yes.
This is something far more sinister.
Correct.
Not Mr. Sinister, just far more sinister.
I'm just agreeing with you as you keep talking.
All right, because I'm right.
You are accurate. I gotta give you that. I feel like there's a way to make this movie and not invade. As much as I love invading the X-Men shit, taking it at a global level, I think it weakens the universe, and I think that's part of why you get what you get with the third one. And I think that's why they
really did. They
wrote themselves into a corner.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, honestly, it should have been. I mean, I guess we can get into this next week. What the third one should have been, but it should have been something closer to a Guardians of the Galaxy space opera.
Sure.
Maybe that's funny, but it should have been a space movie.
Yeah. A space shoot 'em up.
Yeah.
A space western, essentially.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think the end of this movie kind of answers the question of where the third one should have gone, in my opinion.
Here's where it should have gone. Not with a cokehead.
Oh.
Not with someone who needed to shoot the movie in 10 days, and so Scrooge McDucked his way through a pile of cocaine.
Who built himself his own Wolverine suit.
Yeah.
Alright. Jesus. So, back to the movie.
Who among us wouldn't?
Back to the movie. Wolverine returns to the X-Mansion.
Yes, he's back from his unsuccessful quest.
Yeah, his unsuccessful quest, to learn about his origin. He was unsuccessful. So he wants the Professor to help him. And so Professor shows him Cerebro. But Professor also says, you need to learn for yourself. I can't just show you everything. Which is like, damn, Professor, why not?
You gotta be all Yoda about it.
Yeah, you bald-ass motherfucker. Well, that's pretty powerful. So it's like...
Oh, yeah.
And especially considering we have a Wolverine trilogy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And because...
That sets that up.
Wolverine's journey is all about knowing himself. He doesn't know anything about himself.
Yeah.
And he's a tortured soul.
Yeah.
He's a man who essentially just wakes up one day.
Yeah.
As this incredibly powerful mutant.
Mm-hmm. Half animal, maybe.
Yeah.
So So
it was originally intended that way in the comics, correct?
That was something I don't know if they weren't. The creator said, drop some comic knowledge on everybody.
Please, it's part of why you're here.
Dave Cockrum, the creator of Wolverine, was not intending for Wolverine to be a
616 mutant.
Yeah, no, he was intending for him to be. Well, he wasn't a mutant, but he was not intending him to be a half animal, half man. That was something. They didn't have any plans for him because they just like have a character and there's nothing written about them yet. They just they hadn't sketched his background.
Yeah, he was just somebody to fight the Hulk.
Exactly. In the 70s, there was this guy, and he's still around. He's called the High Evolutionary, and he deals a lot with
Mr. Problematic. There's Mr. Sinister and there's Mr. Problematic.
He's Mr. Problematic, and he's kind of like, especially in the 70s, he was their Deus Ex Machina. Yeah. Like whenever something like was going on, like the High Evolutionary would show up. And one of the things he would kind of do, he would kind of like create these like Island of Dr. Moreau creatures.
Yeah.
Like
Bird Brain.
Yeah. The people who the woman who delivered Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch,
who are his children, Magneto's children.
Magneto's children is a half cow woman named Bova.
That sounds sexy.
I said Mr. Problematic. I was not lying.
Yeah, and Bova comes up all the time.
Like it's weird.
It's not even like something that they like.
X-Men's so weird.
And that's not even X-Men. That's Avengers.
Yeah,
because those are like Avengers characters.
Avengers weird.
Also accurate. At this point, there is no comics franchise that doesn't have some weird shit.
Ninjak.
Yeah. No, I'm
just Bova comes up all the time, and I'm not spoil anything for anybody who is looking to get deep into the High Evolutionary. Cover your ears.
Yeah, cover your ears. Earmuffs.
Yeah. But Bova did pass away, and it was like a whole like tender issue.
So that's Wolverine's origin. Bova died. Thank you, Melissa.
I'm sorry, I'll wrap it up. But yeah, that was something that they were looking into, was maybe Wolverine was literally, and it was in one of the early issues of the Dark Phoenix saga. Somebody's looking at a computer screen and saying, oh, he's got half literal Wolverine DNA and half human DNA. How could this be? And they were like, that was like something they were potentially looking at.
Yeah.
They
later on moved away from it. Thank God.
Thank God. Yeah.
Because that would have been the worst.
Yeah, and so the professor, back in this movie, well done, Melissa.
Hey, now we know a lot more about Bo. Thank you.
Yeah. I imagine she looks like that cow from those commercials, that anthropomorphic cow.
She literally does.
From
she's brown.
Lactate?
Lactate,
yeah. That cow with the fat ass commercials.
Yeah, that thick,
Listen,
thick cow.
That cow fit in a catcher's dick. Go check out the Lactate cow, see if I'm wrong.
If I'm wrong. Professor explains that he's looking for this assassin, this wannabe assassin, but that he's very hard to track. And he does manage to track him. He finds him. And that he's a fast-moving... actually, they only learn that later. Let me back up a little bit. So we see Mystique. She's disguised herself and breaks into into Stryker's computers to learn more about his plans. Right?
Correct.
So, now, back to where I was going to be. Jean Grey and Storm are sent to go get this assassin and bring him to the X-Mansion. Y'all need to go get him. So, they learn that he is a fast-moving, demon-like person. It's Nightcrawler. I don't have to sugarcoat that. Mm-hmm. And it becomes pretty evident that he was coerced.
Yes, and he feels an intense guilt over it.
Yeah, he's a very nice thing.
Yeah, he's
meek.
Sweet person. And
it's Alan Cumming, who's great.
He does a fantastic job.
I'm not even saying this, just in general. Alan Cumming rules. And he's got this thing on the back of his neck that is very similar to what Stryker did to Magneto.
Yes.
Right.
So it's like, oh shit, y'all.
I want to talk about that real quick.
Stryker's a bad guy.
Yeah, Stryker's quite obviously a bad guy.
The villain.
As it was set up before. I know it wasn't at the time, obviously, for timely reasons. There are parallels between this and the Patriot Act, correct?
Oh yeah, and that was a huge thing at the time.
In a Guantanamo kind of thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so it was perhaps textual that this should be a Patriot Act reading.
Well,
I think so.
Guantanamo actually plays a role in the third one.
Accurate. So I think it's really interesting the U.S. military using these coercive tactics. I wouldn't have expected that from a 2003 movie.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
It's above its time.
Especially since I'll say we even hit on a scene with Cerebro, and that scene does a lot to set up Professor Xavier's power, because he can track down any mutant, and they're like, oh, if he concentrates too hard, he'll kill Nightcrawler, so he can't track him as closely as he might like. I think that has some similarities to the NSA.
Yeah.
I know I'm putting that upon it, but I think it suits itself to that.
Right, but it's all coming out of the same, climate that birthed that,
Yeah.
The NSA spying program.
Yeah.
So, now, Cyclops and the Professor go to visit Magneto in his plastic prison. So, that was there to nullify his power, obviously.
Sure. Very cool design on the plastic prison for Magneto.
Yes. Magneto explains that Stryker has been questioning him and points out that his son Jason Stryker was once a student at the school. To Professor Xavier's horror, Magneto confesses that he's told Stryker everything.
Yes, and he has a really intense line, "You should have killed me when you had the chance."
Yeah.
Thoughts on that line? Because it's really the
Crux of the...
Yeah, it's really the blow of that scene. You should have killed me when you had the chance.
Man, we should have. But I mean, that's not my code.
Is that his way of saying that he has betrayed mutant kind?
Oh.
And that he feels a guilt over that?
I think it is.
That's what I read
think
that
it
as.
is, because that's the only thing that's really important to him.
Yes, yeah, exactly. He stands with the X-Men a million times before he stands with humanity once. He would never...
Which we learn later.
Willfully betray the X-Men to the U.S. government.
His issues with the X-Men, it's like an issue with your family.
Yeah. Well, it's that they stand with mutant kind.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But his main issue remains
humankind.
Correct. Is that the X-Men stand with humankind and want coexistence, where Magneto thinks that coexistence is just signing your own death warrant.
And that's something that the later trilogy does well, is the fluidity that Magneto has between the X-Men and his own villainness.
I think the end of this movie does it well.
It does. That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So at that moment, gas starts entering the prison chamber, and
thank God we built that in.
And both of them pass out. Outside, Cyclops fights the prison guards, but he is defeated by Stryker's powerful assistant, Lady Deathstrike.
Yes.
She is.
She rules.
She's so cool in this movie.
Yeah. Which later she's a badass thing. That's not badass, just beating Cyclops' ass. So, a handful of people are awake in the X-Mansion. We see Wolverine, we see this little boy.
One of the best scenes coming up.
Yeah. We see this little boy, we see Cyclops, or not Cyclops, Iceman.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby's there, and boom! The raid begins on the
Strike
X-Men.
team is moving through the mansion.
Yeah, and they are just they are shooting these kids.
Osama!
Yeah, honestly.
And they're shooting these
There's
kids.
a lot of later on military references that you can put onto this movie.
Yeah. And
this is very Osama.
An earlier one is a little bit of Elian Gonzalez.
Yeah.
It was like a year, maybe like 2 or 3 years earlier.
No, that was late 90s.
Was maybe 99, but it was...
Yeah, it was like 99, yeah. Clinton was still in office for Ilion. Wasn't he?
Yeah, because Janet Reno was there. Yeah, you're right.
So, bunch of shit's happening. A lot of the mutants escape thanks to Colossus.
Yeah, we get our first look at Colossus, Pyotr Rasputin.
Oh, yeah.
Daniel Cudmore.
Yeah.
Played him. He reprises this role later. In a couple movies. Last Stand In, Days of Future Past. He returns.
He's really good.
Yeah.
He does everything that's asked of him.
Joe pointed out, and I didn't know this, he tried out for Superman.
Yeah, for Superman Returns.
Really?
Yeah, he auditioned.
Good for him.
And he is shirtless in this movie, and you can see why he tried out.
Mm-hmm.
So, we see that Stryker is there in person, and he sees Wolverine. And they have this instant connection. And he's like, oh, don't you... It's like, Wolverine. He says, Wolverine. He says, this is the last place I thought you'd be.
Yeah.
leading up to this, I will say, Wolverine is a murder tornado.
He is fucking... They can't show blood and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little jarring how they're not showing blood.
Yeah, he's a splattertaz.
Yeah.
Splattertaz.
It's
Like Looney Tunes.
It's very conspicuous, the absence of blood.
Yeah.
Because he's going through the heart. Like,
Oh, he is like chopping dudes' heads off, and then they slide off like they're a goddamn Ken doll.
And, so, yeah, Stryker is there, and so Wolverine's really confused, and he's asking him all these questions. But Bobby manages, thinking Wolverine's in trouble, puts up a big ice wall. And so Wolverine's pissed that he did that. But so Wolverine, Bobby...
This is someone who maybe had answers to his past.
Yeah.
He's an antagonist.
He recognizes him.
But he's an antagonist with possible answers.
Yeah, and he, literally that's just what he was looking for.
Yeah.
That's why he's there.
Yeah.
Not to spoil, he was at the place where he was.
Yeah,
He went up to the Alkali Mountains, which is where Stryker was,
Yeah.
to get answers.
So Wolverine, Rogue, Bobby, and Pyro all escape in Cyclops' car, which Wolverine starts with his claw.
Boss.
And as they decide to head to Boston...
There is a running theme of Wolverine ruining Cyclops'
life. Just life.
gear. Well, it's specifically his motorcycles and cars.
Yeah. And we
Pops a tire on the other one right before he gets in. Wait, 1 second. Go. Okay, we can go now.
All right, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leaves a note. Haha, pussy.
They also in order to date this great movie so far, they play a
timeless movie, truly. A movie out of time.
They play a Backstreet Boys song.
Yeah, they play Bye 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 on the radio. As like a comedic,
They're like, oh, turn that off! Like, yeah. Wolverine's like...
What's he gonna put on?
Tom Petty.
I brought my Tom Waits CDs.
He would literally like Willie Nelson.
Yeah, I brought my Tom Waits CDs. Put those on.
Oh god.
They're in his back pocket.
You would have like tapes.
Where's the hell, damn it?
They travel better.
Where's the damn 8-track on this thing?
I'm 120 years old. I can't keep track of your music. Shit, updating.
So they decide to head to Boston, thinking they can meet up with Storm and Jean Grey, who are still out with Nightcrawler now. But they also know that Bobby's from Boston, so they decide to stop at his house just for cover. And
really?
So,
yeah, go on.
Scene shifts to Mystique hooking up with Magneto's guard.
Yeah, literally.
From his prison.
Literally.
Yeah, played as Rebecca Romaine.
Yeah, but she knocks him unconscious, drugs him, and gives him an injection of silver-colored fluid.
Yeah.
He's a real dumbass, that dude.
Yeah, that guy is. They could not make him more oafish.
Pro tip to all my fellas out there who are listening to this.
Listen, you know who you are.
You know who you are.
Look.
If a girl like Rebecca Romaine wearing a slutty cocktail dress comes up to you in a dive bar...
Yeah, and you're literally eating 10 chicken wings at the same time.
Yeah,
and you're yelling at the TV, which he was in the scene.
You are accidentally doing one of those. You know those things where it's like if you eat a steak that's the size of a cow's heart, you eat it for free.
Yeah,
you're doing that by accident.
Yeah,
and she's like, I like the way you eat that.
Yeah,
that happens 0 times, and when the other 0.001%, this happens.
Yeah. And,
she fucks you up and probably kills you.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, fellas and ladies out there.
Yeah, you probably, look, Daniel Cudmore walks up to, my gals out there who are tearing it up at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Bunch of woo girls. So, Professor Xavier has awoken, and he's with Stryker and Lady Deathstrike. Stryker explains that the metal bracelet on Xavier's head now is to prevent him from using his psychic power. And it's at this point that they wheel in Jason Stryker.
Yeah.
It's so jarring.
It's out of a horror movie.
Yeah.
And it really
is.
He's lobotomized.
Yeah.
He's got a big scar on the side of his head.
This is this guy's son.
That's what Xavier
but
said.
He doesn't view him as that anymore. He has dehumanized.
Yeah, he says my son died.
My son died long ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, no, he didn't.
Yeah,
you fucking idiot.
Oh, yeah.
It's since Joseph, it's fine.
And if you believe it, the graphic novel is darker.
Yeah, oh my god.
Accurate.
And So they begin arguing, and he's a mutant. Jason is, and he's like an illusionist. He's like here. Please, you guys know.
I was just gonna say he's like Mastermind.
Mastermind. I have it in my notes right here.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Stryker's son reminds me of Mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who kicks off the whole Dark Phoenix saga.
So
yeah,
he's a big part of Dark Phoenix saga. He's part of he was originally part of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and
quote unquote.
Was he, or was he trying to get into the Hellfire Club?
No,
he was trying to work his way.
He originally was.
He was a Brotherhood guy trying to work his way into the Inner Circle.
And then he was trying to do Hellfire.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew that. So at one point, Lady Deathstrike is kind of like she starts looking around. She starts kind of acting a little bit erratic, and then Stryker gives her another dose of the chemical in the back of her neck. And it's like, she's
dosed as well.
She's dosed as well, you dick.
Yeah, I've seen this with the commentary, and they've said that she was probably just some housewife that they kidnapped.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's super fucked up considering what happens to her later in this movie.
Yeah.
Stryker admits his chemical would not be strong enough to work on the Professor, so he brings in Jason to influence Xavier's mind, which is so fucked up.
Is it weird that they're going to influence his mind, but he has this neural dampener?
No,
right?
I guess
I buy it.
Xavier's so powerful.
That's how I see it.
I guess once he breaks into his mind, maybe they take off the neural dampener.
That's
Something like that.
Yeah.
Either way, I feel like that's
you gotta explain it.
Yeah, because I did have a question about that.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
So Magneto's guard, his name's Mitchell Lorio. He comes in to bring Magneto his breakfast. This is a great scene. Magneto says, "There's something different about you."
He said, "Yeah, it's literally like a dog that can smell, a
food.
piece of meat."
Yeah, the second he walks in.
Yeah.
He felt it.
Yeah.
And Lorio's just brushing it off like, "Shut up, you old fart." And so he immediately lifts him up. Magneto lifts up Lorio.
Yeah.
And he says, "Too much iron in your blood." And then he proceeds to rip it all out
of his blood.
Yeah.
Yes, killing this guy.
That's what you go to action movies for.
Brutally murdering this man.
So brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And he turns it into 3 metal balls that he's just whipping around his cage. Jailbreak time.
Mm-hmm.
And he escapes. He kills the other guards with these balls. Brutal scene. Yeah, brutal scene.
But so cool.
Oh, yeah. It's just like, that dude's a hoss.
Yeah.
And after what they have been a part of in his life, kind of understandable. I mean, they were part and parcel to torture.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Absolute textual torture.
He was in the Holocaust.
In a way, yeah, in a lot of ways he's a political prisoner. He did, and certainly in his own mind, mostly in his own mind.
It's arguable that he's a political prisoner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't be like, no, he's not,
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, yeah, kind of. So, he escapes. So, Magneto's on the loose. So, scene shifts back to Wolverine and his friends. The Body's family comes home, and they are shocked to learn that he's a mutant.
Yeah, they literally... Bobby has a coming out scene, which is played exactly like a kid coming out as gay.
This is where the movie really loses a lot of momentum. Its
Coming off the
momentum,
rape scene.
I don't think it gains again.
And I think it was a lot of the themes that, the X-Men deals a lot, and it's about a group that's discriminated against, and usually that's kept very broadly.
Mm-hmm.
But they really made the gay, and that's partly because this was a huge issue at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a big issue now, but at the time, it was literally one of the focal points the next year in the 2004, presidential election. I mean, it was one of the reasons Bush was reelected.
Yeah.
But yeah, the text, the text becomes, or subtext becomes text.
Yeah, it's problematic just in how forced it feels.
Mm-hmm.
It's very forced. Have you tried not being a mutant?
Yeah, and that's literally and I have
out of an after-school special.
I have a lot of friends who were gay and who that scene meant so much to them when they were kids, because it is something that their parents my gay friends, that's something their parents literally did say to them. Mm. Have you tried not being gay?
And not to take away from them.
No, right, go on.
But that doesn't mean it's right for this movie.
Right. It might not be right for what this story is and what this.
And it comes out of left field.
Yeah.
That's not what this movie is about. This movie is not about the X-Men embracing themselves. It's about, on a global level, the government's ability to view mutants as a part of this world.
Right.
To share this world, as the opening monologue set up.
Yeah. Especially, and it doesn't really tie in. We've just lost the school functionally.
Yeah.
And then we have this scene, and they jut up against each other in a way that doesn't cohere whatsoever.
No, not even a little bit.
So, during this scene, Bobby's little brother gets all pissy.
Yeah, he's being a real, Limp Bizkit asshole.
So he calls the police and says there's these people in our house.
Is that a direct quote from Eminem?
Yeah, I brought him in to drop some bars.
So he calls the police, and when the police arrive, they shoot Logan in the head, seemingly killing him. And Pyro is like, "Hey y'all, I'm the worst mutant out there," and I gave him some weird little southern accent.
He's so 17 years old.
Yeah, and then
it's his turn. It's his pivot towards evil.
Sure.
And at this point, I get it.
Yeah.
It is completely understandable.
They
If you
shot
just
Logan.
watched your school get blown up, you watched your professor get shot in the fucking skull.
Yeah.
You watched the family of the guy you're with.
Your buddy, your best friend.
Your best friend turn him into the cops.
And it's also implied that he's had this, what's going on with Bobby happen, with his family.
Yeah.
That he's been kicked out of his own family.
He sees no recourse in his life to any peaceful path.
Flip double.
So you know what?
Humanity.
Fuck everything.
Yeah.
If I can't have peace, fine. If you want war, cool. I have the ability to make that happen. I have the ability to make that happen. I think they do a great job with Pyro in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think his line throughout this movie is really compelling.
Yeah. Again, good job by the actor, too.
Yeah, he did a really good job.
He's really good on Mad Men, even though he's only in one episode.
Fair.
I remember you were trying to place him.
Cares. Yeah, when I was watching it, I was like, who is that guy? It's driving me nuts.
Oh, Mad Men. And so Rogue is able to grab his ankle and extinguish the flames because she absorbs his power, and Bobby ends up putting it out. And Logan's fine. He just, pops the bullet out. It's like, oh, God. Hate when that happens.
Logan rules. That's why he's the best character. He gets shot in the head, and then...
Joe, you pointed that out. That, they do a lot of shit to him.
They beat the shit out of him all the time. Just because they can.
Yeah.
Because he heals.
Just because he's going to heal. You can get away with X-rated shit on him.
Yeah.
Just because, no, he's fine. He heals.
And then he gets mad at the person who did it, and then he beats their ass.
Yeah. It's great.
So...
It's so satisfying.
Yeah.
It really is.
Where else do you see that?
And so, at this point, Storm, Jean, and Nightcrawler all arrive in the jet, and they pick them up and head for the school. But they are chased by some F-16 fighter planes. So Storm creates some tornadoes, and but they're able to shoot some missiles at the jet. Mm-hmm. And so Jean's able to disable one, but the other one explodes, basically on the jet, pretty close to it. And as they are about to crash, Rogue's actually sucked out of the plane, and Nightcrawler bamps and saves her. That was a pretty cool scene.
Yeah.
The effects are on point in this movie, I thought.
Yeah,
they do a really good job, especially in that opening scene.
The Nightcrawler stuff.
Yeah, the Nightcrawler stuff.
That's an easy scene to fuck up, just because of the time you're in.
Well, and they do a lot with hearing him in other rooms, or he disappears behind this wall and suddenly he's behind you.
Yeah, this is this was the cutting edge of,
It's that Superman scene,
What?
It's like the Superman scene when Superman would fly around, and then Clark Kent would answer the door in one shot.
Yeah, that's a really good parallel, because you're dealing with great special effects, both practical and CGI. But you're also dealing with a great actor in Alan Cumming, much as Superman had Christopher Reeve.
Right.
Accurate.
And so their plane is about to crash when Magneto repairs the hole and saves them. And it's like, saves them, but it's like, oh, she's gonna like fuck us up. Like
they, I don't know what the next line in that is, but they're immediately around a campfire.
No, it's that. Yeah.
Yeah. Couple of things here. First of all, they drop the ball with the Jean stuff.
Yeah.
Because she suddenly doesn't have the ability to save everyone, but she's wildly worried that she's too powerful.
Yeah. I mean,
it makes no sense.
You could do both.
She should have blown the jet up.
Well, she blows the jet up, or she accidentally runs the missiles into each other, or something. There's ways to write around this.
Yeah.
We can make this happen.
And, not to spoil X-Men Apocalypse, I mean, fast forward 45 seconds, if you don't want any spoilers, but she does do that. They do manage to do both in X-Men Apocalypse.
I don't even think that's a spoiler, just to say they accomplished their goals.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
And I really I don't like any of the Jean stuff in this movie. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
No.
It just does not work. And this is an example.
They don't fold it in.
They don't fold it in. Here they're not even telling us. They're trying to show us, but they don't show us the right stuff.
Right.
They tell us in the first scene A is happening, and then in this scene they're showing us B.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like she's like showing up and she's like, oh, I'm too powerful. Then shut up, you didn't do shit.
Yeah. You have yet to help the team once.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or hinder the team.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Storm has shown herself to be more powerful at this point.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Magneto, as you said, they're around this campfire, and he explains that...
another thing. We should have a scene... They're immediately very peaceful with Magneto.
Oh, Magneto!
What's up, homie?
Yeah, they're sitting around and they're fine with with Magneto and Mystique.
Yo, remember the Statue of Liberty? That shit was funny.
Literally.
Remember?
Can we get one scene of them coming to a détente?
Yeah, we need that.
Wolverine should claw out, and Magneto's like, chill, dog.
It's not just that they're all mutants and are all on the same side. I mean, it ultimately should be.
Yes.
But that's not where they should start.
Yeah, they have to. We have to see that to know that.
Especially because they don't have Charles.
Yeah.
If Charles and Magneto are there, it's a very different scene. I can understand them all sitting around the campfire.
That'd be a cool.
I don't need any other explanation. The X-Men are sitting there, all behind Professor X. Magneto's on the other side with the Brotherhood behind him. I guess it's really just Mystique, but still, Mystique is behind him. I don't need any further explanation. Well, Pyro's still with the X-Men.
I know, but he's going to be in the Brotherhood.
He is. I don't need any further explanation than that visual cue of the almost chess-like setup, although the pawns would be whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. But for here, I guess the de facto leader of the X-Men right now, because Cyclops has also been taken, is Storm.
Yes.
And this also gives me another thought I'll get to in a second.
Not some Rogue's the leader.
And, yeah, right, like, I need something about them just saying, okay, we'll put this aside to get Professor Xavier back and to
save the school.
To save the school and all this.
Yeah, goals, man.
Yeah. They really never play up how the X-Men are kind of without their traditional leadership.
Yeah, they don't have a chain of command.
They don't have their chain of command. They don't have their field leader in Cyclops, and they don't have their titular leader, Professor X.
And you would think that, like, Cyclops would have a lieutenant.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a nominal lieutenant, and it's, and Storm has been, the leader in the comics a lot, and so,
But in this movie, it seems like it almost would be Jean. There's no reason it wouldn't be Jean. It would certainly is Jean or Storm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those are the only two options. But there's never an argument between the two. There's never any kind of struggle for power. Because there's never really any moment where... And that's the scene where you have it, is the détente scene.
Right.
Where Storm has to step up and be the effective leader of this team.
And she has to be, because Jean is supposed to be freaking out right now.
Yes. A lot of problems in this altogether.
Yeah. So Magneto's explaining that Stryker...
This movie has lost so much momentum at this point.
Yeah, it's really fast. It does it really fast.
Magneto is explaining that Stryker invaded the school just to get to Cerebro, saying that with it he can make Professor Xavier focus on any group of people, such as mutants, and kill them, which Xavier explained earlier. Magneto also says that Stryker is one of the only people who can manipulate adamantium, the metal on Wolverine's bones.
Yeah.
So
Logan is putting it together that Stryker knows me somehow, and this is one of the only guys who could have done the adamantium stuff to me. So he probably did this adamantium stuff to me.
Yeah.
So Mystique, as we saw earlier, she now has the plans for Stryker's base, but they need Jean to read Nightcrawler's mind in order to get the location, Alkali Lake, which is where Wolverine was. So he must be like, motherfucker. He didn't find it because it's underground. So
Professor X could have cued him in on that.
Yeah.
dig.
Not for nothing, right? Yeah, like, he said go up to Alkali Lake, and then he gets back like, oh yeah, it's underground.
Oh, shit. Oh, did I miss that? Oh, my bad.
My bad, home dog. So Mystique is tormenting Wolverine by entering his tent, disguised as Jean, trying to hook up.
Well, even before then, Jean and Logan have a scene where there's, they're basically saying, like, damn it, we can't do this with this on again, off again, intense.
We were never on.
It comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, they never build in these, like, movies properly with the Jean Logan stuff.
They really don't. It exists because it exists in the comics, is how we end up reading it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right? It's completely out of left field. And then even the Mystique Logan stuff is out of left field. As to the attraction there.
Wolverine's hot, dog.
That's really pretty much what it's played up to is, and people are trying to get a bite out of this piece of meat.
Yeah, man. He's got that metal dick.
Hell yeah.
That's what I think. So...
So anyway...
Let's move on.
They fly to the base the next day, and Magneto, he's basically being a dick to Rogue.
It's like being a dick to Rogue, but he's being cool as fuck to Pyro.
Yeah. He's complimenting his abilities.
Yeah.
Look at how handsome you are.
Look at you, young fella.
You finished all of that all by yourself. No, he has a scene where Pyro talks down his abilities. He's like, well, I can't create fire, I can only control it. So, and he says it with the tone of, this is a weakness of mine. And Magneto cuts him off immediately and says, you are a god among insects. And never forget that. Always remember how powerful you are. And it's incredibly effective.
Yeah.
And following Pyro through the movie, I 1,000% understand why he ends up teaming up with Magneto.
Yeah, no, his
Like, this dude believes in me.
Yeah, his arc works 100%.
Perfectly. I think it's a perfect arc of taking someone from the X-Mansion, who belongs to the X-Mansion.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he was, this weird outsider kind of guy who,
yeah,
clearly he was just a Brotherhood guy in waiting.
Right.
That was not him.
At worst, he was somebody who was similar to Rogue, who was maybe kicked out by their family, or was alienated by their family somehow.
Or he's like a fuck up at school.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a hothead.
Far from alone in the X-Mansion.
Yeah.
Sure.
And taking him step by step, walking him over to the Brotherhood of Mutants.
Yeah.
They do not jump him over there. They walk him over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at this point in the movie, we get another pretty haunting scene where a sergeant asks Stryker, why are they keeping the mutant children that they took from the house? And he explains that he wants to be sure that mutants are really dying when Cerebro is operated. And she's like, holy shit, you're a lunatic. So Wolverine enters...
He's going to kill these kids. He doesn't view them as children.
No.
They're mutants.
So Wolverine enters the lab first, and Stryker will want him alive. Magneto disagrees. When Wolverine appears at the door, Stryker instructs the soldiers to admit him, but as soon as he sees him in person, he knows it's not Wolverine. It's Mystique. She takes out several guards and manages to get into the laboratory's heavily fortified control room. Pretty smart plan.
Yeah, I dig it.
Especially considering, like, oh, he's got some sort of connection with this dude. There might be... We can trick him.
Yeah.
Maybe. So Professor Xavier, we see, is in an elaborate illusion created by Jason. Jason is in the guise of a little girl. And it's haunting, just because little girls are supposed to be, like, the most innocent thing in the world. And she's evil, this little girl. So the two enter the Cerebro room, although in reality it's a grungy dome that Stryker has fabricated.
Yeah.
The rescue group splits up to find the children and the professor. Stryker goes to the dome and orders Jason to make the professor kill all mutants.
Yes.
Kill all humans.
Professor Xavier is going to be the ironic downfall of mutant kind.
Yeah. And so a manipulated Cyclops tries to stop Jean, Magneto, and Mystique using the full power of his optic blast. Jean stays to get through to him while the others go on, and they fight.
Yes. I will say I'm disappointed by the lack of Cyclops in this movie.
In all of the movies.
Yeah, he's in very little of these movies.
But James Marsden brings it in every scene he's in.
You know what would be... Alright, this doesn't have anything to do with it. But if they did the... Did you ever read the Cyclops Brian Michael Bendis stuff from the past couple years.
Was that the one where he went off with the Starjammers? I haven't read it.
No, not the Starjammer stuff. No, when he was literally had his own faction of the X-Men. It was right after Schism.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was
love Schism.
Yeah,
one of my favorite X books of all
But
time.
he, had his own faction. He was literally he was almost kind of like Magneto.
Yeah.
And he was famous for it. But that would be a really great.
That'd be a really interesting interpretation. Yeah, 100%. Do they make Xavier seem a little too easily used to you guys?
Yes. That does bother me because he should be he should have an extremely powerful mind, and it's just who is this fucking Jason guy that he can take him over?
Maybe if they had set it up that Jason, he was one of my most powerful telepaths of all time. Holy shit, that guy. But we don't even really get that. I just think it makes the quote unquote world's most powerful telepath. He's getting fooled by what I almost read as a fucking parlor trick.
True.
Yeah, that's something that
Maybe it's the neural inhibitor.
That could be something that we're reading into it from the comics.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I do feel
it's important to remember these as the text that they exist as.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I've said before I hate to compare, but they are kind of in the same universe. They were in the same movie together. James McAvoy's Professor Xavier seems much stronger. He seems like a more powerful telepath. They at least hit it harder.
I'm not sure. I think Professor X has a quiet power in these movies. At least in the first one. Stoic, but I mean, he just never has an issue doing what he would like to do. And they've set it up that he's going to kill all. They at the same time are tricking his brain, but they're using his brain because it's all powerful. If that's the case, you can probably just use Jason, right?
Yeah. Yeah, if Jason's more powerful, if he's powerful enough to take over
his brain, then it kind of seems like you should be able to use him
as Cerebro.
As the Cerebro conduit. I've never understood. I just think they need to either play up Jason as more powerful or explain how he's taking control of him.
Yeah, it's like what's the trick that Jason can do that can fool Xavier to get around his powerful telepathic abilities.
I guess if you the easiest rewrite would be the neural inhibitor is making it easier, and Jason's power is strictly the ability to project illusions into people's brains, which may be text in this movie. I did not pick up on it if that is.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll agree with that.
But he seems like a telepath.
I don't know if they ever mentioned directly what it was.
So, like I said, Cyclops and Jean are fighting, and their fights are causing some cracks in the dam.
I can take anything into how is Xavier problematic. I can just keep segueing out. I could take an apartheid conversation and put it there.
Oh, that would be interesting. X-Men was really good in the 80s.
Yeah. Continue, Matt.
So they're fighting, causing cracks in the facade of this dam, which is like...
And in their love.
Not really, because Cyclops finally remembers himself and takes Jean with him. It's all good there.
She still isn't powerful enough in this scene.
Wolverine has gone on his own to search the laboratory for its secrets.
I want her blowing up the moon.
That should be the scene where she's holding back from killing him.
Mm-hmm.
And she's having to... I can't go 1% against him, because if I go 1%, I might accidentally go 100% and murder him. And I can't do that because I love him. That would be an interesting take on that scene. And they don't do anything interesting with Jean in these movies.
They just crack the dam.
Yeah.
So Wolverine finds the room where the adamantium was applied to his bones. Brutal.
Looking for his birthplace.
Yeah. He sees X-rays.
He's having some flashbacks.
He sees X-rays on the walls. He's finding the liquid metal. He sees some scrapes on the wall. Then he remembers escaping the facility using his new metal claws after he overheard Stryker planning to erase his memory. He finally remembers. And Stryker... Stryker finds him there, and when Wolverine goes to attack him...
Look, I'm glad this podcast is now dated.
Stryker... we see Lady Deathstrike. She is coming again, and she attacks him with these sick metal claws. Nails, yeah.
One of the best fights in any of the X-Men movies
is
the Lady Deathstrike versus Wolverine fight. I think it is so well shot. You always understand exactly what's going on. Everything has meaning and weight. It's never just punch porn.
No.
It's a really great fight.
And it's so much sadder once you realize, like, yeah, she probably is just some fucking housewife that they kidnapped. And we see this fight ends up ending when Wolverine jams an adamantium nozzle into her and fills her body with it. And she falls to the bottom of the tank.
Yeah.
And just makes a thud.
It's heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
Truly. And just like, holy
Even
shit.
if she's a villain, I mean, that's just a horrible way to die.
Horrible death, yeah.
And at this point, Pyro leaves the plane, tired of
Did
waiting.
she have to die? Could he have fought her until she wasn't obsessed?
She did not have to die.
It's a very cool death. I will give them that.
Yeah.
But the fact that she was being controlled makes her death slightly problematic to me.
Oh, it's extremely
It's hugely problematic, right?
Especially
Yeah.
you got goddamn Brian Singer on the commentary saying she was, this kidnapped woman.
Yes, essentially an innocent woman.
Yeah.
I mean, she was innocent. There's no essentially that. She's an innocent woman.
Yeah,
You can't hold her accountable. She may as well be a werewolf.
Yeah.
So, Magneto now goes to the Cerebro room and dons his helmet just as the attack on mutants begin.
Oh no, before that, he blows up a shitload of soldiers.
Oh, yes, he does. He pulls their grenades.
He pulls all their grenade pins and just lets them explode.
Dope.
And them, fumble. That's good enough, but then them fumbling for their grenades and blowing up one by one, ugh. It's so brutal.
Yeah.
There's brutal deaths throughout these movies.
Yeah.
This movie especially.
Yeah.
And just the other mutants, all the children there, and all the adults fall to their knees just screaming in pain. They're being murdered. And, God, that's so brutal. So, Mystique enters the dome as metal panels are beginning to fly around. She enters as Stryker and tells Jason to have Xavier kill all the humans instead of the mutants, because this is Magneto's new grand plan.
They use Magneto perfectly here. He has helped the X-Men for his goal.
Right.
Which is he's going to use this to his advantage. Hey man, they're not going to leave money on the table if we have this thing that can kill an entire race. Great. I have an idea of which one. Let's kill all humans.
Yeah.
Kill all humans.
And that is his goal, and I think they use Magneto fucking perfectly in this movie.
Yeah.
Because you don't even necessarily see it coming. It's never foreshadowed.
No. Yeah.
But the second it happens, it's of course he would be doing that.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a turn. It's just like Magneto's gonna Magneto.
Yeah.
So Stryker, the real Stryker, leaves the complex, but Wolverine finds him and beats the shit out of him. World Star. Wolverine's demanding answers, such as why he bonded him with adamantium in the first place, and why he wanted to erase his memories. Stryker only tells him that he volunteered for the procedure, and that the two of them worked together. He says Wolverine is a failed experiment, that he was an animal before and an animal now. Wolverine then chains into the helicopter and goes back for the others. Which is like, whoa. Heavy. He was an animal before and an animal after.
Pretty intense.
So, we saw in X-Men Apocalypse what he was.
Mm-hmm.
He was that murderous.
Yeah, we get the middle. We get the middle of that.
Although you can't take it as a one-for-one.
I do, fuck you.
Timeline. But you could read it as this is an
what
approximation.
a Stryker would do. Yeah.
Well, this is what Wolverine would have done at that point.
Yeah.
So the rescue group has reached the Cerebro chamber. Nightcrawler teleports Storm and himself inside, and in order to get Jason to stop the illusion, Storm makes it cold in the room.
She sees the illusion of the little girl, and she knows immediately that this must be fake.
Yeah, and Nightcrawler's like, it's just a little girl.
Xavier is also fooled by this little girl.
Mm-hmm.
How does Storm know it's fake? If Xavier does not.
That's a great question. And
I guess she's just in the middle of. I mean,
she's
in the middle of this big fucking battle, so she would know that this. You would assume that this. Okay, here's a little girl who is doing this. Not here's a little girl who is a 30-year-old Jason who is doing this.
The only thing I could think of is that maybe Xavier trained her to block against telepathic attacks.
Something, maybe...
It's the thing...
That's a comics thing.
It's the thing in the back of his neck. It's whatever that thing is shutting him down in a certain way to where he's just more submissive, almost.
Well,
Xavier? Yeah.
Interesting.
That's how I read that thing. Look at Lady Deathstrike. She's completely bended to his will. Look at Nightcrawler.
Did they do the thing to him?
To who?
To Xavier?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't they?
Okay, that changes the equation a little bit. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did.
I could be incorrect on that. I apologize.
If not, then yes, that needs to be answered. But I think they did. So we've covered both ways. So...
All good, baby.
Yeah, no angry letters. So, the shed starts to break.
That's not possible for this show.
Jason finally gives in, and Professor Xavier, kind of comes back to. The illusion breaks in the new Cerebro, so we see Xavier. As the ceiling panels start to collapse, Nightcrawler rescues Storm and the Professor. Did they rescue Jason?
No, I don't think they did.
No, I believe they left him.
Holy shit. The group runs away and finally finds their way outside.
Immensely problematic.
Yeah. You guys are doing yourselves no favors. In the meantime, Magneto and Mystique have found Stryker and commandeered his helicopter. Pyro has voluntarily joined them, as to Joe's point about why he would join the Brotherhood. However, Rogue flies...
Pyro's such good shit in this movie.
The Brotherhood does, in your opinion. All of them.
Sure, and it's not just that it's Pyro. It could have been any... They could have probably put any mutant in there. They could have put an earthquake in there. They could have put a...
Pyro's cool. It's like a cool crime.
Yeah.
Arson's the coolest crime.
I was doing the Ant-Man.
No, I know.
I thought you were doing the Legends of Tomorrow thing.
No.
Rory.
So now Rogue is flying the X-Jet to the place to help save everybody. So yeah, bro. As everyone struggles aboard, Wolverine notices Stryker is still chained to the dam. Clearly the work of Magneto for those chains. Stryker demands to be let go, pleading with Wolverine and suggesting...
Demands and then pleads.
Yeah,
Come on!
and suggesting Wolverine will forever be an outcast like his friends. Wolverine decides to take his chances with his fellow mutants as he walks away with a little child in his arms. So the team now discovers that the plane is not fully functional and can't lift off, but the dam is bursting. Jean leaves the plane and prevents everyone from getting her back on board. She holds off the floodwaters while lifting the plane, and she saves the group, and then is overwhelmed by the water. The whole team is devastated because Jean's dead.
Yeah.
And especially Scott and Wolverine.
Real quick, is that the end of the stuff for that? Okay. Couple of things. First of all, Wolverine leaving Stryker for dead. Leaving him to die a horrible death.
They left a lot of people.
I have no problem with that, to be honest.
No. I don't either.
He had no obligation to save William Stryker, especially the Wolverine character. If it's Cyclops or Storm, it might have been different.
His moral code is different.
But Wolverine's moral code is different, and he was saving somebody.
Yeah.
The fact that he had a child in his arms helps a lot in this scene.
Oh, yeah.
Well, also, that's a callback to earlier in the movie. That was the little boy with the forked tongue.
Yeah.
Who stuck his tongue out.
Yeah.
He's like,
yeah.
So he was at the museum, and now he's also here. His life sucks.
Okay. It does suck.
Yeah.
The Jean
Death.
This burger we have to bite into.
It was not earned.
It was in no way earned that she was this powerful, and the movie...
Also, was it that powerful? All that water?
No.
For Jean Grey? Seems like you could just do that.
That's pretty up there.
Like
for her
Moses?
powers.
You sure?
It's more than we've ever seen her do, but, I mean...
As far as we know the character.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, just do that shit. Like, I imagine, 17-year-old Jean.
Yeah, she could, get that done for a period of time. She couldn't hold it forever.
Yeah.
But she could certainly part some water for quite a while.
Right.
Let my people go.
Sure.
There you go.
The movie has not been about her.
Yeah.
So for the conclusion of this movie to be about her,
odd. When there's been no, subplot.
Well, and it hurts her that, and the Cyclops thing, that he hasn't been in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
He was in 3 scenes leading up to this part. He's a very small part of this movie.
And they're like, no!
And so, yeah.
Shut up, Wolverine!
You shut up.
I'm sad too.
We've been in this thing.
There's just nothing to dig into here because we have not been on Scott's side because he hasn't been in this movie.
Yeah.
We haven't been on Jean's side because they haven't been demonstrating anything that they're trying to get out of us.
Right.
It just does not work.
I agree.
And Famke Janssen doesn't help it.
No, not really.
She's much better than the first one. She's pretty wooden in the first one.
Yeah.
And so now the final scene of this movie is at the White House. The president's about to give a televised speech, but it's interrupted. Everyone in the room freezes. Pull Zach Morris move again. It's just the president who's okay and the mutants who walk in. It's Xavier and the X-Men. They present him with information taken from Stryker's lab, and Xavier basically says, "We're here to stay." And the movie ends.
Yes. Couple of things. This seems like a better visual and an idea than it is a storytelling concept.
Yeah.
Because is the camera going?
Yeah, that's really bugged me.
Is this going out to everyone in America? Or did Xavier freeze everyone in America?
I think he freezed everyone.
He can't freeze everyone in America. That's crazy.
There's no way.
Everybody's just like, this is weird. Who's he talking to? Like people in the South. What's going on, man? Who's here to stay? Also, Scott is bawling his eyes
Scott
out.
is openly crying in this scene. If you look at Scott in this entire scene, he is devastated.
The president's like, is that guy okay? That was really funny. That man is bawling his eyes out.
Do you need like a soda or something, dude?
I can go get you one if like you all will unfreeze everything. So I freak the fuck out.
I don't like Xavier's plan. Is essentially an extension and an expansion
of Magneto.
Of the first scene.
Oh yeah,
where they broke into the Oval Office.
No, that's super problematic.
Yeah,
don't do that.
Stop breaking into this place. This time to have him. He broke into the Oval Office so everyone would trust you. With the same guy who did it the first time. Yeah, and he's grinning in this weird way, and you have it lit in this really ominous, villainous way. Yeah. If I'm the president, I do not trust you. No. I want you controlled.
Although George Bush would be like, this is cool.
Yeah.
George
W.
Oh
shit, are you all the X-Men?
I gotta get some pictures. Condoleezza, get in here.
So,
Scooter, take the pics. We don't want it.
I'm saying that affectionately to George Bush because he kind of had like a Joe Biden would also I think love it.
Oh yeah.
That wasn't a political statement from me.
So that's the final shot in the movie.
Yeah.
So that's George W. That's the end of the beat by beat breakdown. Let's talk about some of the characters.
All right.
Who did good work? Who did bad work?
Wolvie.
Yeah. Let's start with Hugh Jackman.
Good job.
He did a fantastic job. I thought.
More good Huey J's, man.
Yeah.
He was super conflicted. He
was funny.
He was he was charming. He did a fantastic job.
He's our first iconic superhero.
What do you think about the character's arc throughout this movie?
I liked it. He's constantly hunting. Who am I? Who am I? And he fucking hates William Stryker, but he's still like, I want to talk to you, William Stryker.
Yeah, you can't get him in the way that he gets people.
Yeah.
He's so used to just dealing with people, the way you would deal with a fucking, rat that's in your kitchen.
Yeah.
And he can't. He has to, be a human being
Just
about
to keep
it.
him alive in
the
time.
guy who stole his humanity from him.
What does it tell you about the Logan story in this movie, him leaving him to die?
The movie Logan?
Yeah.
Joe, I'm gonna cry.
Be careful.
Don't hurt yourself today to see if you still feel.
Too late. What was the question?
Seriously, what does him leaving what does Logan leaving William Stryker to his death signal about this movie?
I don't need you anymore, motherfucker. That's what that says to me. You can die, and I have peace with that.
He doesn't need the answers he may provide?
I don't think he has any more answers.
So he's just used him up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else does he need to know?
And then whatever he has, he's made peace with.
Yeah.
Whatever he thinks he may have, he's made peace with.
I killed a lot of dudes. Here, I did. So, I think his story is tightly wound in this movie. I think he is one of the highlights. And Wolverine, man, 2 thumbs up.
Yeah. There's never really a bad Wolverine scene in this movie.
No.
You didn't like that scene with that cat.
Oh, yeah, when he pulls his claws on the cat. I hate that. I think that's so fucking stupid.
I was fine with it.
You know what I'm talking about?
And Bobby's house.
He's at Bobby's house. It's 3 seconds of the movie. It's fine.
Kitty's licking him.
Kitty licks his claws.
Yeah.
Cats are, cats don't care.
Yeah. Cats aren't judgel.
They sure aren't. You're not
By the way,
wrong.
earlier I said that Dave Cockrum invented Wolverine. It was Len Wein.
We would have gotten letters about that.
And that was bugging me.
I wasn't paying attention. Because I knew that. So, just kidding. I was paying attention. I was just letting you be smart.
There's the Hugh Jackman thing.
Yeah, I thought it was
Who's
great.
the next character?
Let's try Patty Stews.
Patrick Stewart plays Professor Xavier. I think Xavier is written very problematic in this movie.
Yeah.
Which is 616 canon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially, after about 2001 or 2, because...
Do you have a theory about why that is? Because I have a theory.
No, I don't have a theory.
I think that's when people who grew up with the Xavier character got a hold of him at a creative level.
Especially people who grew up with the Claremont comics.
Yeah, where he was problematic consistently.
Yeah, well, and those were the comics that people actually read. No offense to Stanley.
Yeah, Claremont got a hold of this character and really made it very textual that Xavier was kind of an asshole.
Right.
And then when people who... but they never really called him on it.
No, it was just, in the story.
Yeah, he would just fake his death and, leave all his students to believe he was dead for a while, shit like that. And then when people who grew up with that got a hold of this character, they started to hold him accountable for this in a big, bad way.
Yeah.
It was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I can accept most of the Xavier stuff that happened in this movie, except the end, when he breaks into the Oval Office again. Stop doing that.
Yeah. I think him breaking into the Oval Office is dumb. I would like a lot more explanation about the mind control stuff with Jason. And I think there's a lot of ethical questions.
Sure. I just don't like that Oval Office scene. It's like, don't do that. Just send a box of chocolates.
Yeah.
It's like, we here. We in this. That's what you gotta say. Send RZA.
He would do it too.
He would do it.
Or save Jason and have Jason project a,
Yeah, there you go.
That'd have been weird though. Because then they're manipulating Jason.
They're not manipulating. Have Jason be
He can be working towards being a productive member of the Xavier School,
much like Wolverine is.
Yes.
Aww. Yeah. So that was. You're right. There's problematic stuff for Professor Xavier. Certainly not his best movie.
Not Patrick Stewart's problem.
Not Patrick Stewart's problem. No. They also do him no favors coming up. So, it's alright.
Yeah.
Magneto, great.
The Magneto stuff is really good. It's really strong, and I really feel him as this opposite force to Professor Xavier.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Once and Future King, Magneto.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the book.
Yeah, he was reading a book in his jail cell, The Once and Future King, and it's a book that Professor Xavier, at the end of the movie, begins to discuss in a class that he's teaching to a bunch of kids. It was a nice little... Could not have been more understated.
Yeah.
To be.
Of course.
I've never read that book. Have either of you?
No.
I
don't even know what it's about.
I didn't even know it was a real book.
Yeah.
It's an Arthurian...
I'm not a literary type.
It's an Arthurian fantasy, apparently, about the exploration of human nature regarding power and justice.
Ian McKellan was just reading that on set.
Very well could have been.
He did a real good job.
He's doing a real good job. Magneto's one of those characters that's so easy to fuck up, both as the actor and to write him. And both actors who portrayed him have done a fabulous job.
Yeah, because you have to make sure that you keep conscious of his fluidity.
Yeah.
He's never one thing at any given time.
And I think you also have to make him kind of...
Right.
You have to give him a point where he is correct. Mm-hmm. To make Magneto actively incorrect in any moment, you're not doing service to that character. But I think you have to make him in a weird way down here with the people. He can't be sitting up in an ivory tower and still be Magneto, I believe.
Right.
It's not effective Magneto. This is for me. He has to understand people.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
Like Pyro. He sees through Pyro in a fucking heartbeat.
Yeah, and that's something that I don't think Xavier maybe does very well. Maybe that's why he doesn't, he misses Pyro in a way. Or he let Pyro fall through the cracks.
He sees Pyro as he could be, maybe not as he is.
Maybe, yeah. There's a more of a real politic with with Magneto.
Yeah.
And that's how he just approaches the world. And that's why he's...
Understandably, given his background.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
There you go.
So...
Who else do you want to talk about? Let's talk about Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler.
Sure.
Woo!
He does great work. Alan Cumming does great work as Nightcrawler.
He is the best.
At times he can get a little too silly, for my taste.
I agree with that. And, but he's... 95% of the time, super charming.
Sure, and when he is having those vulnerable moments, he is split open like he is involved in a game of Operation.
Oh, like a goddamn cantaloupe. He is.
The moments of vulnerability of Nightcrawler are unbelievable.
Yeah, and he is, and Alan Cumming is somebody who, at this point, I think I mostly knew him slightly as he was another one who had come from Broadway. And he was famous for being in the play a musical Cabaret.
Yeah.
And so him
doing a superhero movie.
Yeah, I mean he had done some stuff between that, but it was going from that kind of thing to this, especially that fucking opening scene, which you put that against pretty much anything in comic book movies.
It's up there with anything, yeah.
Hats off to Alan Cumming.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was really good. How do we feel about the Nightcrawler design in this movie with the scars?
I dug it.
I think it's...
I think they explained it away fine.
I think it's just visually off-putting.
Sure, it's supposed to be.
Is it an earned off-putting, are you saying? What are you trying to say? You don't like it?
No, I think yeah, I don't know why we need that wall.
Yeah.
We already have the blue, fur.
He's already a blue demon.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what we get from that.
Yeah, I can see that point.
I can agree with that.
Maybe if he had a scar or a thing. Maybe something that he obviously had done, because this seems very professional, what he has done to him.
Yeah, is he out there just, cutting himself all the time? That is
psychotic.
Pathological.
It's psychotic.
Yes, it's literally, yeah.
And so, yeah, a little bit of explanation about, are you going to someone for this? It's almost like he's branded, but I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
He says he has one for every sin. Obviously, that's just him
Why,
speaking metaphorically.
Why is he making himself look less human, too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe his life's that shitty.
It's almost a weird, semi-suicidal feeling.
Yeah.
He wants to destroy anything of who he is.
Well, yeah, I mean, how can you be more alienated?
Yeah. Yeah, I have problems with the design.
Yeah.
So that's Nightcrawler, but the arc that he takes is very strong.
Sure.
And Alan Cumming does a fantastic
job. Jean Grey. We've already touched on
touched on it. Hugely problematic. They just do not do the legwork. They just do not do the work in this movie to get Jean Grey where they want her.
Same with Scotty Boy.
He's not even in the movie.
He's not in the movie, and that's such a shame, because I love James Marsden, and honestly, I don't know if I would have felt that way if I had only seen him in, stuff like this in Superman Returns.
Yeah.
That came later.
He might have been the best part of Superman Returns.
Accurate.
Wow. I haven't seen it. I wasn't here last week.
Sucks it. Don't make me talk about that movie again.
I won't. But he had a really great run in 30 Rock.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
And he's
Christopher Cross.
Christopher Cross. He is doing great work on Westworld right now.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
I need to watch that movie, show so bad.
Me too. I binge watched Game of Thrones. How many seasons of Game of Thrones did I watch?
You watched 5.5 in about
a week and a half.
Yeah.
So increased it, man.
Yeah. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Verily.
I'm wearing a Game of Thrones shirt right now. So I can watch 4 episodes of Westworld.
Yeah, you can knock those out.
Oh my god, yeah, you're probably doing it right now.
One eye is slowly drifting.
That's why we're wearing Google glasses.
Yeah. I love the character of Cyclops. I think Cyclops is a hugely interesting character.
You'd like to play
at a conceptual level. If I was going to play an X-Men, I would try to play Cyclops.
That's who you look like.
Thank you.
I didn't mean it as a compliment, but I'm glad you took it that way.
Sure.
You just look like that.
No, yeah, just
if you think that's a compliment, cool.
Yeah, fine.
If you look like the Blob, I'd be like, Joe, you should play the Blob. You don't. He looks like Cyclops.
I know. Just think it'd be funny to say, hey, you know who you should play?
The fat fuck.
Fat fucker.
I just think there's something really interesting about the fact that he is the team leader in this almost militaristic way.
Follow me, gang.
He has to be constantly in control. He has to almost do the Batman thing where he's like, what's every scenario possible and how do I account for it?
Yeah, and I think he thinks that he is only the leader because Xavier felt like he needed to be.
Yes. And I think there's a measure of a contrast with that amount of control and the fact that he has an uncontrollable power. Yeah. And I think that's a really interesting diametrically opposite thing of he is an uncontrolled force of energy.
Yes.
But he is trying to have the most control of anyone in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's trying to keep everything in the world, in his world, in the world that we create for ourselves as a human being, on lockdown. But, the most important
if he
thing,
looks the wrong way without a certain thing over his eyes...
That happens in the last movie.
Hashtag whoopsie daisies.
People might die.
Exactly.
And I think that's a really interesting aspect to this character.
Yeah, Cyclops will pick a bouquet of whoopsie daisies.
Yeah. And, just please give me Schism in a movie.
Just like an off-brand.
I want it so bad.
What about him hooking up with Emma Frost?
Oh, yes, please. Well, I love him being the team leader, but being totally sexually dominated by Emma Frost. That always, really makes me... I really appreciate that dynamic.
And everyone, knows.
Yeah. Oh, everybody just, sees, the whip marks on his chest and shit.
Well, it's just you don't even need that much. It's just
damn, Joe.
Well, I see.
Yeah.
You just look at those two and, I see what's up.
Yeah, you know. But yeah, James Marsters isn't in this movie. Storm, I think they missed a big opportunity to play her up as the team leader.
Yeah.
They never do that, and I think it's a huge problem.
Yeah.
Is the only thing that she really had going in this movie was the fact that she assumed control, and I'll be honest, I didn't even realize she assumed control until she wasn't in control anymore.
Right.
It just felt like we need somebody to do it. Storm's not doing anything in this scene. Let's have her do that.
Right.
And that is not good.
No, especially since, there's no reason why, she's a natural leader.
Yeah.
You can 100% have her.
She was a queen.
Yeah. She's a goddess.
Yeah, she was a goddess. Okay. Any other characters we want to touch on? Stryker? Let's touch on Stryker.
Oh, yeah.
This will be the last one.
Brian Cox.
Does awesome work in this movie.
He's bringing the first Hannibal Lecter.
A+ movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or A+ movie. A+ performance by Brian Cox. He does really, really good.
Totally. He's British. Do you know that?
Yeah.
I did know that. He does an arc throughout this movie, really, but that's pretty common for villains, especially in superhero movies.
Right.
You can see where he is correct in his own mind.
Yeah,
and I think
it's a little evil for evil's sake.
But you have to remember he's viewing it from a place of
humanity.
Mutants are not people.
Right.
He may as well be dealing with bombs in his mind.
At the same time, his son is one.
I know, it makes him so fucked up. But if you accept that mutants have zero humanity...
But he made that choice, and I guess we see that, canonically later. He made that choice before his son was born.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Well, he said he's been fighting mutants as long as Xavier has been fighting for mutant kind. Yeah. He says that in the movie.
Right.
So, his hatred of mutants predates his son being born, and certainly his son becoming a mutant.
We see that in Days of Future Past.
Sure.
Right.
So, again, you can't accept it as a one-to-one.
Shut up.
No.
I do. They're all the same. But yeah, he did a great job. I mean, you totally see where he's coming from. He's a hero of his own story. He's just got a fucked up point of view. And it works, man. It just works. Dudes in superhero movies who don't have powers, but are still the villains, super scary.
Yeah, 100%.
They just use their political power and their manipulation, I guess you can say.
Your military power, I think.
Yeah. It's great.
I don't think we need to touch on Bobby, really.
Nah, Rogue, no. They don't do much.
He's definitely the,
He's learning.
He's the blandest
Yeah.
of this movie.
He is.
Pyro does great work, though.
I would like to say, though, it's funny for Iceman that now in the comics he is gay, that he is the one with the girlfriend.
Well, he's dating. It would be funny if he were gay in these because he's dating a girl who it's very safe to date if you're gay because you cannot touch her. You know what I mean?
It is, yeah.
That's a good point.
Like some girl shows up and you can't touch her and he's like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah. It's like,
let's go shopping.
Well, I knew a guy in high school who was very gay, but he was dating a girl who was ultra religious.
Yeah.
And so it was a big deal for them to kiss, let alone do anything else. And I realized later, that was a measure of him keeping his life safe and manageable.
Sure.
Until he had properly worked through everything he needed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Must have been weird for her. But anyway.
Yeah.
Let's rank this movie as opposed to X-Men. And I think that's an interesting ranking because I would put it that the highs in this movie reach higher.
Yeah.
I think the lows in this movie reach lower. And I think...
These are close.
Yeah, they're really close. Regardless. I'm not going to get mad if you rate X-Men higher than X2 or X2 higher than X-Men.
I will put... I'm going to...
I think I know what I'm
I think I have to put it lower just because there are lows.
And the X-Men movie really is... You could bounce a quarter off that thing.
Yeah.
It is tight.
Yeah.
I mean... There's a strong part. I agree with everything that he said, but there's a strong part of me that says Stryker.
Yeah, the Stryker stuff is what would put me over.
Because the Magneto stuff is still great. Just the Xavier stuff's weak. Jean Grey stuff's weak. I gotta put X-Men above it.
These are compelling arguments.
Stryker's the only thing keeping it. It's it might put it over.
Yeah. That's the one bit. Yeah, and that is what made me pause. But I think, the fact that there were so many clunky story elements in the latter third. I
think the fact that it ends its big set thing at the end is the Jean Grey thing, and that's what I'm supposed to go out on. Everything up through the raid on the school is almost perfect.
Yeah.
It's really incredible.
We don't even get that much Stryker stuff.
Yeah.
True.
But from there on, it feels like a different movie.
Yeah.
I would be interested to see maybe it was a scripting breakdown, okay, you write this part, you write this part. And just one guy had his ear much more to the ground on what this movie should have been. Because this movie had, I think, story by 3 people, script by 3 people.
Yeah.
Not even necessarily the same 3 people. That's always an issue. You would prefer the person who does the story to do the screenplay.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm going to have to put X-Men above X2.
Yeah.
And that surprises me. Walking into this...
Yeah.
Oh, I 100% agree.
I did not, before we started watching this trilogy, I had what I assumed, was going to be my trilogy.
Yeah, you thought it was going to be X2, X-Men, X3.
X-Men not too far behind X2, and then a big drop-off after them.
Yeah.
See, I was remembering in my mind all that X-Men had weird corny stuff, and there was down times and weird stuff, and then I watched that movie, and then none of that exists.
No.
I was dumb.
Yeah. No, I conflated it, I think, with the Spider-Man movie.
I think you conflate it with the era.
Yeah, you really do. Because the Spider-Man, you can compare X-Men and Spider-Man. Yeah, we can listen to the episode. It has problems, a lot of problems. It has downtimes. It has things that don't make any sense. It has bad...
corny jokes.
It has terrible jokes. It has terrible
the worst part about X-Men was that one storm line.
And even that wasn't that bad.
It's not that bad.
I thought I was going to hate that. I didn't mind it.
No, because it's it makes sense for Storm because she's it's a stiff line, but she's a goddess. She's she's gonna say a line. That's what that character's line reading is gonna be.
Yeah. At one point, Matt, you and I need to sit down and do a full ranking of all of these movies.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Ooh, that'll be a really good
bonus episode.
Yeah, I was gonna say bonus episode. Yeah.
All right, Joe, tell the people how to get a hold of us, man.
God damn it. We always race to see who can say that to the other person.
Oh, really?
Because then we have to...
I'm going to do it next time.
Yeah, Facebook.com/up.
You don't know how to get a hold of us.
Twitter.com, Up and Away Show. Instagram, Up and Away Podcast. Up and Away Podcast at gmail.com. Please rate and subscribe to the show. That means a lot. We have a 5-star rating on iTunes. It's very important to all of us.
Also, leaving a comment is very, very nice.
Yeah, it's super helpful.
Like a nice comment, I mean.
No, yeah, anything. Tell a friend, all that good stuff. Anything else?
Tell your parents.
What do we have coming up
Say
next?
hi to your mother for me.
What do we have coming up next week, Matt?
Nothing. No. We got a Newsday Tuesday coming up. Already some big stuff. Speaking of this X-Men stuff, we got a Deadpool director, y'all. And then we come to you next. Yeah, there's some weird stuff going on with that. And then next Friday, we're coming to you with the final movie in this little trilogy, X-Men: The Last Stand.
That podcast could end up being 20 minutes. It could end up being 2 hours.
Yep.
I have a feeling it'll be short.
Yeah.
Because it's just like...
It's a quick movie.
It's a quick movie, and it's just like a drain of a movie.
Yeah.
Joe, during this movie, we were like, how much time's left in this movie? We were like, holy shit, an hour.
This movie's 2 hours, 20 minutes.
It's a long movie.
It's a long movie. You could cut 20 minutes out of this thing easily. You could cut a half hour out of this easily.
Great stuff in this movie.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was a studio note that they had to set up the Dark Phoenix stuff.
Maybe.
It's possible. Because to do God Loves Man Kills and the first third of the Dark Phoenix,
that's wild.
That's a lot. I mean, if you just got presented that's a ton to do in one movie.
And especially, like, it's not even just, like, God Loves Man Kills as it is. It's also, like, weaving in Weapon X.
Yeah, true. Accurate. Yeah, there's so much going on in this. So, for all of us here at Up and Away, we'll see all you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.